What's up, everybody? Matt Modi here with Jedi Modi Sports Network, and I have 5 early NFL bets for the Week 6 betting slate that I have already locked in. 5 bets for Week 6, placed them already myself. It's something that I love to do. Check on the lines late Sunday when the odds for the next week start getting posted. Do the same thing on Monday. Generally, you can find some discrepancies early in the week before sportsbooks catch up with their odds, before every book catches up with their odds. And that's exactly what we did. I did this last week. I gave out 4 picks on this YouTube channel. Unfortunately, we are currently sitting at 1 and 2. Granted, we still have the Packers left to go. Now, I got a really bad price on the Packers. I'm recording this before Monday Night Football starts, so I don't know if they won or not. I got them at -1.5. Unfortunately, the lines moved aggressively against me. That's a tongue twister. So that is a CLVL that I have to take, but we will see. Right now, like I said, sitting at 1 and 2. That Texans one was brutal. I thought I had it when they took the lead at the very end of the game, only to give up the game-winning drive to Desmond Ridder. But all that matters is that goes down as an L. Overall, NFL season has not been profitable for me, as you can see. Granted, while these early picks didn't do well, I gave out 3 player props for Sunday's slate. Those all hit. I gave out 4 other picks, and each pick is a different category. I went 3 and 1 on those picks as well, so things are starting to turn up. But because of the slow start, we have a long way to go. Confident that we will be able to get it back. And let's chat these lines. So the first play that we're going to go ahead and lock in is our favorite underdog to win straight up, and that is the Seattle Seahawks money line. +136 odds at FanDuel. Now, if you can get this spread at +3, I love that as well. I could only find it at +2.5, but if you can get that extra half point, it's really, really meaningful. But at 2.5, I'd rather just take the money line. Maybe the Bengals are back. Maybe they turn things around after a horrible start, beating the Cardinals last week. But also, maybe not. We thought this after week 3 when they beat the Rams. It's okay. Bengals are back. Joe Burrow looked okay. He looked fine in that game. Maybe they're back. What happened the next week? They got blown out by the Titans. And just because Joe Burrow had a good game against the Cardinals, who have the 30th ranked defense in the entire NFL, that doesn't make me confident that they're fully back. And this Seahawks team is ferocious. We all saw what they did to the Giants on Monday Night Football. Now, yeah, sure, the Bengals are not as bad as the Giants, but the Bengals do have a pretty bad offensive line, which is part of the reason why they've been struggling. Joe Burrow, his mobility is limited because of the calf injury. They have a poor offensive line. Not a good recipe. I could see the Seahawks defense wreaking havoc once again in this game. And now, also after that game against the Giants, the Seahawks had a week off to rest up, coming off of their bye week. So they're rested. They're coming off of they're coming off of an incredible performance, and they get a maybe healthy, but more likely probably not healthy Joe Burrow, again, a bad offensive line, and I'm just not ready to buy the Bengals yet. Just looking at DVOA, granted, this is subjective, but they give the Seahawks the best defensive line in the NFL. Part of that has to do with stopping the run, but still, that's not a good sign for the Bengals. And sure, a lot of that is from playing the Giants, but still, best defensive line against the Bengals' poorest offensive line isn't great. And overall, the Seahawks have the 14th ranked defense in the NFL. If you want to look at the Bengals side, they have the 22nd ranked defense in the NFL, the 24th ranked offense. Again, this is all according to DVOA, and it does include their performance against the Cardinals yesterday. So overall, I'm not buying the Bengals yet. I do think that the Seahawks are legit. I love for them to win straight up, and the +136 odds is a really good price as our first play. Next up, second play of the slate in the Texans versus Saints game. I'm once again riding with the Texans, this time at +2.5, -117 odds at Sportrade. Now, as you can see on the graphic here, Sportrade is only available if you are in Colorado or New Jersey. If you are, I highly recommend downloading it. They consistently have the best odds. And if you do download it, use the promo code MODI, as that helps me out a ton. If not, +2.5, you can get them at +2 pretty much everywhere. But I love the Texans in this spot. I know I just mentioned that they had a heartbreaking loss last week to the Falcons, and I'll admit, letting Desmond Ridder go down the field on you is a bad look because he had the pass and he did it pretty well. But I do think, and I'm very confident, that this game is going to be close. Yes, the +3 would look a little bit better, but the +2.5 was a positive expected value play on Sport Trade and was the best line that you're going to get. Sure, I'll give the Texans defense is good. I will give them that. They have a legit defense, but their offense is horrible. And not to mention, while we stick on their defense, they've played a really bad stretch of offenses through 5 games. This is the teams that they've played in order. The Titans, who have the 22nd ranked offense, the Panthers, who have the 30th ranked offense, the Packers, who are 14th, the Bucks, who are 18th, and now the Patriots, who are 28th. Remember, the Saints are 3-2. The 3 games they won are against the teams that had bottom 10 offenses. The 2 games they lost was to the Packers and Bucks. Both of their offenses were in the teens and not even above 14. That's the highest one. And against the Titans, they only won by 2 points. It was a very close game. If that happens again, we still win our bet. The Texans offense, yes, they can't run the ball, admittedly, but they are the 6th best passing offense in the NFL, according to DVOA. CJ Stroud has been awesome. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, even the tight ends have been getting work for the Texans. I think they'll at least be able to put up enough points to keep this game close, and I do not trust the Saints offense one bit. Their offense has been putrid, and that includes Derek Carr. According to DVOA, 23rd ranked offense in the NFL, and Derek Carr ranks out as a bottom 10 quarterback as well. He's been awful. I love the Texans to keep this one close as our second play. Third pick of the evening, give me the Colts plus 4.5. This is at -110 odds at DraftKings. After 2 massive wins from the Jaguars in London, I think this is the perfect spot to fade him. They're riding high, especially after that impressive win against the Bills last week. And generally, things tend to even out in the NFL. Now, if the Jaguars go on a run and take that next step to being one of the elite teams in the NFL, then this is going to look bad. I think what's more likely is that after an emotional win, a very impressive win last week, they're going to come down just a little bit. And then on the Colts side, even without Anthony Richardson, I still like this with Gardner Minshew. He's been fine this year. I'm not going to say that he's been phenomenal, but he's literally been fine. The Colts have been pretty competent with him at helm, whether it's Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew. In Gardner Minshew's one start this year, they beat the Ravens. Granted, the Ravens were banged up in that game, but still, that was a win. Overall, if you look at DVOA, perfectly average quarterback in Gardner Minshew, ranked 15th in the NFL. Now, the Jags' advanced stats are pretty decent. Overall, according to DVOA, they're the 11th best team with the 15th ranked offense and the 10th ranked defense. The Colts are just behind them, ranked 15th in the NFL with the 13th ranked offense and the 16th ranked defense. So I know that's obviously not the perfect way to look at a matchup, but if you just look at the advanced stats, they're pretty evenly matched. These teams also played in week 1, which is part of my logic for this bet, a game in which the Jaguars won by 10. And in games that happen kind of close to each other, week 1 to week 6 is not a lot of time in between. I love betting on basically the opposite of whatever just happened recently, especially in a divisional game like this where this situation is possible. Generally, things start to even out over time. Sure, maybe the Jags, A, are going on a run, and B, just are going to own the Colts this year, like the 49ers do to the Cowboys. But what's more likely is that this game is closer than people think and that the Colts are able to keep it close. So I love taking the points. Fourth up, our 4th pick of the slate, another underdog that we like to cover, the Cardinals, plus 6.5, -115 odds at DraftKings. Despite the 1-4 record, the Cardinals have been surprisingly competent this year. Granted, their defense stinks, but their offense has been legitimately good and legitimately fun to watch through 5 games. And this is another example of those stats that bear this out. They have the 10th ranked offense in the NFL. The Cardinals do. With that in mind, Josh Dobbs has been playing pretty well for the Cardinals too. It's been a surprise how well he's been playing because he came to the Cardinals like 2 weeks before the season started, but he's been playing really well. According to DVOA, the 12th best quarterback in the NFL, ahead of big names like Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford. Yeah, sure, Dak, a little bit of a less impressive name there because he was horrible last game against the 49ers, but still. And then looking at the Rams side, they had a decent first half against the Eagles, just looking at last week, but they laid an egg of epic proportion in the second half of that game. They literally didn't run a single offensive snap in Eagles territory in the second half of that game. That's now the second straight week in which the Rams looked good in the first half and then laid an egg in the second half. That happened the week prior against the Colts. They were up 23-0 and then let the Colts come back, game win in overtime, which sure, they did end up winning, but still 2 second half collapses 2 weeks in a row isn't great. Yes, this concern here is that the Cardinals defense stinks and that the Rams are getting Cooper Kupp back just another week healthy after looking good. His first game back last week against the Eagles, but the Rams have been highly consistent this year. Overall, Stafford ranks as the 18th ranked quarterback in the NFL according to DVOA. The Rams also struggled defensively. They got torched by the Eagles last week and overall have the 26th ranked defense according to the NFL. So another game that I think the Cardinals are able to keep close. All 4 of my first picks are regarding the underdogs. 1 to win straight up, 3 to cover. Our last pick, finally not an underdog to cover. Actually not a spread at all. We're taking an under, or a total. We're taking the 49ers versus Browns game to go under 39.5, -110 odds at DraftKings. I will admit, this one is scary. The 49ers offense is a machine. They scored 30 points in pretty much every game Brock Purdy's ever played, and they literally just played what was ranked as the best defense in the NFL in the Cowboys, and they hung 42 on them. That Cowboys defensive performance was so bad that they, prior to the game, were ranked first, dropped all the way to 8th in defensive DVOA. That's how bad it was. With that said, I do think, similar to the Jags logic, this is a good time to fade the 49ers, at least their offense. They've been perfect pretty much all year, but regression will hit at some point. Unless they're just going to put up one of the best offensive seasons in NFL history, which is possible, the more likely scenario is that eventually they're going to hit a snag. And their reward for facing what was the best defense in the NFL is to face what is now considered the best defense in the NFL, which is the Browns have the number 1 ranked defense, according to DVOA, in the NFL. Yeah, it's possible that the Browns are just going to annihilate everybody in their path and do the same thing to the Browns that they did to the Cowboys. What's more likely is that they take a little bit of a step back, maybe not put up 30 points, instead put up 20 or the high teens, which would make it under very much a play here. The reason why I don't want to take the Browns spread or to win straight up is because I don't trust their offense either. I don't trust them to even score 10 points, even with Deshaun Watson back. Overall, the Browns have the 26th ranked offense in the NFL, which is also known as 7th worst. They've been pretty brutal, and I know that one of those starts was without Deshaun Watson, but it's not as though he had been playing great outside of that. Out of 34 quarterbacks that qualify in DVOA, he's the 9th worst quarterback in the NFL, and if you want to look at success rate, he's the 8th worst quarterback in the NFL. So even with the low total, which is very low, I do like this going under. And that rounds out my 5 early bets to lock in. I know this one was a little bit longer, so I appreciate you guys sticking with me. If you're riding with me, comment and let me know. Other than that, remember to like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff helps me out a ton. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.